Hello, I am Ragnarok, and welcome to the Reckoning. So today we're going to be doing a how to pick your faction, how to build in your faction, and just some of the starter tips and starter info for when you create a new character in the Age of Calamitous mod for Conan Exiles the game. First thing is when you start your character, you start here on the Broken Highway. Looks pretty much the same more or less. Sometimes it'll look slightly different. And the reason for that is if we go to our map, as you can see down here, there are actually 5 broken highways. So, for example, and this actually did happen to me the first time I spawned in with a friend, and I wasn't quite aware of this yet. I spawned in, we both spawned in, and we're like, hey, where are you? And we're like, hey, we're right where we spawned. And we were looking around, we couldn't find each other. The reason is that you can spawn in any of these 5 broken highways. They more or less look the same. It's a path that takes you all the way up to the river. So, just be aware of that. The best way to do it is you can basically just tell each other, hey, I'm in F or G or H, and then 2, the number over here. Or you could just go straight to the river. Either way, that's where you spawn in. So that's the first thing you do. Make your way up to the river, and then we will go to where you pick your faction. Okay, and here we are. So basically what we did is we left the broken highway. We followed the path north, whichever one you're on, doesn't matter. Get to the river. And then follow the south side of the river. For newer characters, I would suggest following the south side of the river. The enemies you find on the south side are a little easier than the ones on the north side, but it doesn't really matter. Both get you the same place. Follow it all the way west until you get right here. Now, once you get here, right about here, this is an entire enemy camp. So my suggestion is before you come here, do some basic leveling up this area. Get some basic weapons, maybe a little bit of armor, definitely some food for healing. If you're interested, we do have a episode or a playthrough of the Age of Calamitous mod. Episode 1 goes over new character creation, spawn in, some tips and tricks for how to level kind of quickly in the beginning. Get a couple extra levels pretty fast. Easy ways to get certain materials and to craft your first set of stuff. So definitely take a look at that. But either way, once you are prepared, come here, and you can either try to climb your way around and avoid all these archers and warriors and cooks and all this stuff. There are a good amount of level 3s that spawn in here quite often. But either way, you're going to fight your way through here. Be careful of this guy right here. He is a higher level thrall. He's got that nice little yellow bar, which basically means a lot more life, a lot more strength. He'll hit you harder. And then guarding the doors, you have a level 3 fighter, level 3 archer. So again, it's going to be kind of hard to get in here without aggroing them. Either way, though, once you get in here, this is in the non-modded game. This is the entrance to the Dregs dungeon. It's the first dungeon that you would do in the game. But they also repurposed this to also serve as a faction hall where you choose your faction for the Age of Calamitous mod. So we have the Cold Embrace, Elven Covenant, the Order of Felgarth, the Van Ghoul, and the Alliance of Stormhold. And essentially, once you go up to it, you can take a quick look, and you get basically a little idea of this is what the buildings look like, little mini versions, and they show you a couple of the weapons and a piece of the armor for each of the factions. So it's kind of cool. Sometimes it's kind of hard to get an idea of exactly what it is based off of this, but it's enough. If it's not, we do have overview videos for every faction. In those videos, we do go over, I build in every type for each faction, every tier. We make buildings, we make every armor, weapon, decoration, utility, anything that is unique to your faction. We go over, we make it, we show it, we go over what materials it takes to make it, where it's made. And also, if it, in the case of weapons and armor, we go over the stats. So you can get a pretty good idea of what you're going to expect if you choose whichever is your faction. So what we're going to do for sake of ease, let's do Cold Embrace. So essentially, once you go to your faction, you're going to go to this ghost and you're going to talk. So in this instance, it's saying, are you sure you want to learn this faction? I hit yes. Now, you got to be careful. You only get to choose your faction once. The only way to change your faction is to actually recreate your character from scratch and start from level 1 all over again, and then you can re-choose your faction. So you can only do this once. So make sure the one you choose is the one you want. In this instance, it's actually me. Are you sure you want to learn? Yes or no. If I hit yes, I pick them. If I hit no, I don't. There are other instances where when you go here, it actually will tell you it put a token in your inventory, and you'll see like an item in your inventory with the symbol on the flag of each faction. So you can actually go and talk to him, and then hit OK. Them, and you'll have all 5 tokens in there. And what you do is you be like, oh, I want this one, which is, we'll just say Stormhold. You click it and you hit use, and then boom, that's how you choose your faction. It's different. I believe the difference is in single player and multiplayer. I'm in single player right now, so that's why it does it like this. So we choose yes, faction learned. So if we go over to another faction, you have already chosen a faction. Okay, so next. Okay, so once you choose a faction, you're going to play the game, and you're going to find a place to build a base. I highly doubt you're going to choose the Frozen North, but since I chose the Cold Embrace, I figured, hey, if I'm going to show off how to build for your faction, I might as well do something appropriate for the faction I chose. But anyways, essentially what you're going to do is the first thing is you're going to go to your feats menu. You're going to go to Religion tab. When you choose your faction, it is going to appear here. So I chose Cold Embrace. Here it is. If I chose Stormhold, Stormhold will show here. So the first one is always chosen for you already. It's already learned, and that's because you learned your faction. And these are the items you're going to get for your faction. So I get some banners, I get some torches, cool. I get a chest, soul prison, which I'll explain that. You get some utility items, decorations. So you get a lot of cool stuff. Every faction is different. Every faction is their items are unique. There are some items that are kind of similar. Like for example, every faction has a chest. Some kind of at least one storage that it crafts that's unique to the faction. Some have multiple. And every faction has this crafting station, which again we'll go over again. It'll look different. We call something different, but it'll be the same. The other thing is you have these other two, and this is basically what you'll learn as you level up. Right off the bat, you probably have this one level 3. This one you won't have to level 5, but my assumption is by the time you got through the Dafari camp to get to choose your faction, you're probably level 5. Either way, learn both of these. And as you level up, level 20, learn that one. Level 40, make sure you learn these as you level up. They only cost 1 each time, so it doesn't really matter. The other thing you have to make sure you do, if you want to build a base in your faction-specific item or create your faction-specific items, is you come down to the Art of Craft. This section will have all the crafting stations and items needed to make the mats that go into your faction-specific gear or the Age of Calamitous gear. You would definitely have to learn this one, Art of Craft, the very first one. That right off the bat, you have to live that one. If you want to build in your faction, learn it. Some of these other ones you can hold off a little bit. I can tell you right now, Apothecary and Stonemason, you'll probably learn shortly after, like probably within the first like 15 levels, you'll probably want to pick these up, if not right away. But for the sake of this video, we'll just learn the Art of Craft because that's the one that's really needed. Essentially what that does is, as you can see, there's no buildings right here. So it's like, cool, how do I build my faction building? I learned it because it's right here. Factions, right here. I learned how to make scourged walls and doorways. Well, it says right here, crafted at construction platform. So construction platform. It needs oak, wood, and slate. Well, there's no oak, wood, and slate in Conan Exiles. So what you're going to do is you're going to make the enchanting table. And we're going to wait for it to craft. Place it down. And essentially what this does is this turns the vanilla or non-modded mats, stone and wood and silk and thatch, or not thatch, sorry, plant fiber, into whatever the Age of Calamitous items are that you need. So we need we need 25 oak wood and 40 slate. So the way this works is you basically put stone in here, you find your slate, and we need 40 of it. So if I use this one, you'll notice that each of these is doubled up. There's 2 of those, there's 2 of those, there's 2 of these. So the first one, if I craft, it just crafts 1. So if I craft 2, I have to keep clicking each time to craft. If I hit the next one and I just craft 1 of them, it actually creates 100 in the same time it took to craft one the other one. So this is single, one at a time. This is if you want to craft it in stacks of 100. So we did that one, and we need oak wood. So again, same for the wood. I'm just going to craft 100 just to speed up everything. Put it in your inventory. Now I have the mats in my inventory. I craft a construction platform. And once again, we wait. Alright, and now we have the construction platform. Place it down. As you can see, it's pretty big. The cool thing about these platforms is, obviously, you have to build them outside because you're not going to build a base, then make the mats for your faction-specific base, and then build it again and destroy the other one. So what you would do, make your walls and stuff like that, and then return this to inventory. Once you build your base, you pick it up, you put it in your base. There you go. So the nice thing about these is they can be moved. You're going to need a lot of room for this one. So, once you go in there, you'll see what you can build for your faction. So for the Cold Embrace, I can build black roofing and scourged wood. So in order to build scourged wood, I need... Ooh, look at that. Scourged wood. The roofing will take the scourged wood, and it will take chronic stone. It's the same with all the factions. All the factions will take the building pieces themselves will just take wood, whatever type of wood that faction needs. And then the roofing is a combination of wood and whatever stone that faction needs. So my suggestion, if you're going to create a starter base, make sure you're near trees, or make sure there's some source of wood nearby, because the tier 1 structure takes nothing but wood, and you are going to go through it a lot. I mean, a foundation takes 50 wood. A wall takes 30 wood. So it's a decent amount of wood, especially if you're on a one-time server. Be near trees. And basically, once you make the mats for whatever you need. So, like I said, you need the scourge wood and the chronics. We converted a bunch. Threw it in here. Here we go. And then you just pick your pieces and you hit craft. Just like you craft anything else in this game. And then you place it down, and there you go. Boom. Tier 1 Cold Embrace Scourge Wood structure. So the last couple things a lot of people miss. There's two specific things a lot of people miss. So here's the armor that you get for the Cold Embrace. The starter armors actually have a decent stats for starter items. So definitely take a look at it. I would make them if they're easy to make. Take a look at them compared to what you're, if you're using the light armor, the standard vanilla light armor or medium armor or whatever. Take a look in comparison. Same with whatever starter weapon you get for your faction if you can make it early on. But the two things a lot of people overlook is every faction gets a chest. So for the Cold Embrace, this actually is pretty similar looking to the vanilla actual chest. It's just a cooler color. But take a look at it. Majority of the faction chests hold a lot more than any storage in the non-modded version of the game. And there are a handful of them that hold way more. Once I pick my faction, I only make chests in the faction because not only are they easier to make, a lot of times, majority of them are less mats and a lot easier to craft than the bigger chests. You can do it a lot sooner also, but again, they hold a lot more, so you have to make a lot less of them. And a lot of them look a lot cooler. So that's the thing some overlook. The second thing is the Soul Prison. So this is going to be different for each faction. It's going to be called something different for each faction. The way you do it is you just look at station. So there's obviously the word station next to the name of these. I can create an enchanting table and a construction platform. So we know what those do, right? If we look through the rest of my stations that you get that aren't vanilla stations, the only other one is this. So for Cold Embrace, it's Soul Prison. For the Elven faction, it's the Crescent Oculus. Then you have Stormhold's, the Warden's Gibbon or Gibbet. I always forget. But either way, take a look at it. What it is it's the Wheel of Pain for your faction. The cool thing about these is at lower levels, so when you first start the game, let's see, it's down here. You have Thrall Taker. There's your Lesser Wheel of Pain. Now, the thing about these, it takes a decent amount of mats. They're not crazy to make, but they're not super easy, especially at the beginning of the game. These only hold one Thrall. So if you want to go Thralling and you get lucky enough to find 6 Thralls you want, you literally have to make 6 of these. And at the beginning of the game, the mats that it takes, it's going to be a little bit of a grind. The other thing too is once you're done with 6 and you're like, okay, maybe I'll come back here and get onesie, twosies. You don't need the 6 of these to take up an entire swath of land. You can't pick them up. You have to destroy them. You get some of the mats back, but you got to destroy them. The cool thing about the faction, in this case, the Soul Prison, is that the first thing is they hold 8 thralls. So right off the bat, they hold the same as the maximum Wheel of Pain in the non-modded version of the game. The other thing is they can be returned to inventory. So once you're done in there, you pick it up, you go somewhere else, you place it down. There you go, we're done. So definitely take a look at this whatever station your faction gets. And they're actually, most of them are really, really cool. Actually, they're all pretty cool. This is literally the biggest one. They're actually, majority of the other ones are pretty small footprint. They're actually probably about the diameter of this square. Like, they're basically a 1 square structure or smaller. Some of them are actually even smaller footprint than that. But either way, take a look at it. My biggest suggestion is just go to your feats, go to your Cold Embrace tab, and just click on it and just see what there is. For example, these light sources that for the Cold Embrace are a lot easier to make and less mats to make, or some of them are, than the non-modded lanterns that you can make. So I usually say go through it, look at the station. You know, for the example, this has to be crafted at Carpenter's Bench. So make Carpenter's Bench, see what this takes to make. Also, like I said, you can check out the videos to see what every faction has, and like I said, we put in what mats are required to make them and where they're made also, so you can get a good idea of, oh, this is way easier than this or whatever. So definitely take a look at that, and just go through them slowly, take a look at each item, and see what there is, because trust me, you'll catch some stuff and you'll be like, oh, this is way better than the non-modded stuff I was building before. And that's pretty much it. So that's a faction overview, or not a faction overview, but a faction choice overview of how to, when you first spawn in, where to go to choose your faction, how to choose your faction, and then just basically how to build your starter products, mainly your starter house that is specific to your faction. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like button. I really do appreciate it. Feel free to check out the other videos that we have. Like I said, we have an episode guide that we go through a character and play through the Age of Calamitous mod. So feel free to check those out, and then we have the model reviews and some other tutorials. If you do find this video helpful, like I said, hit that like button. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do read the comments and suggestions. Or if you just want to say, hey, great video. It's always great. I really do appreciate the support and the kind words people have been saying. You know, I've enjoyed making these videos, and I look forward to making a lot more and helping people out as much as others have helped me out over the time of playing Conan Exiles, especially the Age of Calamitous. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified when the next video goes live and all our future videos. Also, if you want to see any more of the content, we do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/RagnarrockLive. We also have a Discord channel where we share info news, talk about future videos, and just you know, hang out and play games together. So links for both in the description below, and thanks once again. And as always, fear the reckoning.